Hi, I'm Christine Comerford, and welcome to the micro training for the neuroscience of influencing outcomes. Now, today we're going to talk about rapport, and just to give you a quick overview on me and what I do and what we do at Smart Tribes Institute is we are focused on using the latest neuroscience techniques to help people connect more effectively, communicate more effectively, navigate growth and change more effectively. And in this particular micro training series, we'll be talking about influencing outcomes. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what rapport really is. Now, many people think that soft skills are just a nice thing to have, but when it comes down to where they kind of rubber meets the road, this is where soft skills actually take over. So study after study, as well as our own observations and results from our years of experience of work with hundreds of companies, shows that if we would just take time to master these skills around rapport to the point of automaticity, so that when the pressure comes on, we can automatically handle the situation skillfully, we'll get significantly better results. So what we found is that in rapport techniques, the tools that we're going to be learning over the next several micro trainings will help us understand that our behaviors come 90 and even 98% per Hoffman Institute from our subconscious mind, from our emotional brain. Our reptilian brain is trying to find out if we are safe. Our reptilian brain is trying to really kind of make sure that our bodily functions are handled, but primarily our reptilian brain looks out at the world and is constantly asking one thing and one thing only: am I dead yet? And if the answer is no, then it codes, marks everything it is experiencing as safe and therefore survivable. So if someone's reptile brain looks out and you happen to look like their best friend, then you get coded as safe. They know they can survive you. If you happen to look like their third grade teacher who shamed and humiliated them, or another experience that was equally painful, or quote, barely survivable, you're going to have to do a bit of work to gain rapport. Now, our mammalian brain, as we've spoken about in the past, is really about keeping us safe as well, and it looks out at newcomers and asks the question, friend or foe? Are you going to eat me, or are we going to be buddies? Are we going to have lunch together, or am I going to be lunch? So I want to make sure that we're really aware that the most primal parts of us are constantly checking to frankly see if we're safe or not. And this, my dear friends, is where rapport comes in. So what does this all mean? We all have a map of the world, if you will. And this map of the world helps us navigate the experience of being human. And when we think about body language, when we think about assumptions that people make about each other, we want to make sure that we realize that everybody has their own frame of reference, their own experience, education, friends, socioeconomic background, religion, ethnic group, childhood experiences. We all come to the table and come to every human interaction with a set of experiences already coded in. So communication is actually redundant. Human beings can't not communicate. But the tricky part is that the vast majority of our communication is nonverbal. Alexander Morabian did some really interesting research on this subject and found that while some of his percentages are slightly disputed, no one disputes the crux of his findings, which were that over 90% of the meaning of communication is not related to words. We send messages with our bodies, our gestures, and by how we use our voices. And what is more trustworthy? The way a person is moving and showing up, is their body showing you what's really true or not, or are the words? I know you've all probably had the experience, or the vast majority of you have, where someone will say, I'm not mad, but you can tell from the tone of their voice and the way that they're holding their body that they actually are. So the meaning of the communication is the response that you get. If you delivered a communication from someone and they got really upset by it and you didn't intend that, it doesn't matter. What matters is that's the communication they got. So this is why we need to look in the mirror and say, yipes, how did I deliver that? So I want us to start to think about who is like you? Who is like you? You can always tell what stage a couple is in their relationship when you notice how much they're mirroring each other. And there's that newly in love stage where people have really similar postures, gestures, vocal tone, pace, pitch. And then there's that time where after maybe 20 or 30 years, your grandparents are probably like this, they finish each other's sentences. And they actually even start to look like each other. Japanese punk rockers are interesting to me because they all dress like rebels. But how rebellious is it, really, to just look like each other? Looking like each other is one way we know we are safe, one way we fit in, one way we know that we belong. Here's some pictures of mirroring in action. Look at the gentlemen in the suits. They have the same body posture gesture. Look at the facial expressions of the two elder ladies. Look at the millennials and their body posture gesture, their facial expressions. Look at how the baby is mirroring the mom. So let's start to think about how mirroring builds rapport, and we're going to get to that in our next video. But right now, start to think about who's like you. So over the next several videos, we'll be talking about 5 different types of rapport: physical body, posture, gesture, head tilt, arm crossing, leg crossing; vocal, tone, pace, pitch, volume, speed, rhythm, breathing; keyword and gesture, keywords, gestures; understanding different expressions. Let's go the extra mile. That's a keyword structure. Meta programs, and how we actually move through the world and structure our identity and sensory systems. So let's go through your practice notes. So start to notice who you are and are not same as. Think back to the picture I showed you earlier, just a couple minutes ago, where the two elder ladies even looked similar. They were same as each other. How the millennials all had similar postures, gestures. They were same as. When our reptilian brain and our mammalian brain codes somebody as same as us, we are safe and we belong with them. You're going to learn how to give somebody the experience of same as. So start to notice who is and is not same as you. Share your practice findings with both a peer at work as well as a friend, family member. And notice how having this new tool affects your work and life. What are you learning from this? So ask yourself, with whom do you have rapport? With whom would you like to have more? And if you got really good at this, how might it improve your results at work and in your personal life? So thanks for joining us today. You can learn more from our workshops and from our books. I'm going to sign off now and let you do your practice work. Thanks for joining me today.